right, everyone. Welcome to the first trivia game. That maybe it will be the first and only. Maybe it will be the first of a long list of trivia games that I might play. And today, let's play the capitals. And a few of them I have seen. So I asked ChatGPT to be my trivia partner. And let's see what he has for me. So, what is the capital of Japan? So, I think that would be Tokyo. I actually was in Tokyo. It was the first country outside of the US that I ever visited. And it was a 24-hour, more or less, layover on the way to China, 2005. I was 25 years old. And it's just like, I couldn't believe just the airport, how technologically advanced it was, and how clean it was. Like, it was insane. The cleanest bathroom I've seen in my life was at the airport in Tokyo, you know. And then we took the long train. Well, long. It's not that long. Like it is. We took a train, a sky train, across the rice fields all the way to the capital, and slowly, like you feel the buildings coming, and there's a lot of people living there. It's like there is a lot, so it's pretty crazy. So that's it. Next question. What is the capital of Brazil? So, interesting thing about the capital of Brazil, I think it's Brasilia. Let's see. So, interesting thing about the capital of Brazil, it was made to look like a plane or a bird. So, they did this road that really like it's like look it up on Google image. It's like it's really like a plane or a bird. And then the city kind of built itself around that. So interesting little like piece of trivia there that it is built like a bird. And I've never been there. And I'm not sure it's on my bucket list. I will go back to Brazil, and there's many places that I want to see. But Brasilia, I don't know. Anybody has good comments about Brasilia? So, what is the capital of Australia? Well, wouldn't that be Canberra? That's one of the trick question in the capital game is the capital of Australia because people will say like, Sydney? No. Melbourne? No. What the hell? And I have nothing to say about Canberra. I don't even know where it is. I just know that's one of the trick questions. Um, but I have been in Sydney actually, just 3 days, because at that point we had been traveling in New Zealand for 3 weeks, road trip everywhere, like pretty amazing place, but very expensive. And we were like on a journey for like a few months of travel, and our budget was pretty like it got hit hard by this New Zealand 3 week trip. So we ended up like just skipping. Let's skip Australia. This is way too expensive. It's gonna be even more expensive, or like the same as New Zealand. So instead, let's just go to like Southeast Asia, and we ended up like flying to Singapore and then Bali, I think. Yeah, we flew from Australia to Singapore and then Bali, if I remember correctly, which I don't really. So that would be Canberra in Australia. What is the capital of Canada? Well, wouldn't that be Ottawa? And I have a better question for you guys. Why is Ottawa the capital of Canada? And there's an interesting story, if I can tell it not like it was. So, at one point, Montreal used to be the capital of Canada. But then, around the Patriot era, 1839, that era, there there were patriots who wanted like Canada to be a thing. There were people like English people who wanted like I don't know, we're part of the British Empire, and like yet French people didn't give a shit. They were just trying to eat. Then there were rich people in town that were trying to build factories. Interesting time. And then back then, the parliament, I guess, was the big building, the big like custom building that you see near McGill College in the old port of Montreal. And the crazy story is about that time they were in the parliament. One guy accused the other of being a patriot. The other guy, I'll challenge you to do it right here on McGill College. Like we'll shoot each other. Then they went downstairs and people stopped them like, yeah, this is like a parliament. We shouldn't shoot each other, like guys. And then at some point, one night, there has been a drunken mob. But the drunken mob doing stuff, it's kind of like the oldest excuse in the book. You know, Hitler used it. Like, a drunken mob burned down the parliament. But anyway, I'm not sure how it really happened. But a drunken mob, I guess, burned the parliament. Maybe it was just one guy and he said, I saw a drunken mob. And they burned down the parliament that was on in Montreal. And then it was like, this is like, we can't have like, we're trying to build like a thing to exploit resources here, like, and kind of like have peace. And now we have people that are in Upper Canada. Like back then, I think like Toronto was like a city of about 1,000 people. Still, like there were people like English in the Upper Canada. Then let's move the capital. This is way too problematic. And then they ended up like, what's right in between Lower Canada and Upper Canada? Ottawa. Ottawa is it. So it is. And they ended up moving the capital of Canada from Montreal to Ottawa. What is the capital of South Africa? Would that Johannesburg? I don't even know, actually. Might be Cape Town. It might be like there is another town like with another name. Pretoria. I don't know. Let's see what ChatGPT has for us. It is Pretoria. Johannesburg would be like one of the largest. They say, I say the largest city in South Africa, and if I remember correctly, I know there's a lot of history in South Africa, and if I remember correctly, there is some history about Pretoria as well, and I can't really tell it, but I can tell you a great book that I've listened to. I listened to the audiobook. It's the guy who did the Daily Show. What's his name? Trevor Noah. And the book is Born a Crime. So actually, this guy is from South Africa, born of a white father and a black mother. And Born a Crime is referring to like back when he was born, there was still like the old racist government in power over there. And they have made all these rules where it was like illegal for a white to fuck a black girl and have a kid that was kind of a proof that, aha, you did have sex. So let's put the black mom in prison. I guess I just like it's fucked up shit. And when he was young, there was like the end of the apartheid, which is like the racist government. it's a, it's the end of the racist government, and then started a democracy of sort. Now, like 30 years later, we're kind of like, it doesn't work so well. Like, it never works well when the politicians steal the people's money. So, like, if you're listening to this, which I doubt you are, stop stealing the people's money. What is the capital of Russia? Well, wouldn't that be Moscow? And Moscow is indeed the capital of Russia. Um, Never been to Moscow. Um, it was on my bucket list. Now it moved down a lot on my bucket list. But I'm guessing at some point, like war will end, like government will change, peace will come back, then it will move back up on my bucket list. It looks like a crazy city. Like I've seen some pictures, like stuff that you can't believe, like parks that are as big as Montreal, and metro station that looks like European theater. They like there's a lot of like wealth and beauty there, and I think there's a lot of like poverty and ugliness too. So it looks like a crazy place where I could see myself spending 4.3 days there. So next question: what is the capital of Mexico? Well, come on, ChatGPT, you'll have to ask me harder stuff. So it is Mexico, and they have a abbreviation for Mexico. It's CDMX, Ciudad, um, CDMX, Ciudad de Mexico. And sometimes they will add DF, so it's like Washington District, Federal District. It's like it has a special what, like set of laws, I guess, or rules or whatever. I've spent many months of my life in Mexico City. Actually, like I wanted to start a business there before COVID, back when I was like operating inside big cities. That was my thing back then. Now I'm I've calmed down and starting business everywhere in the world. Now that like my business is what I'm doing right now. Um, but it's a great city. Like I always loved the district that's called Condesa, and there is a street there that's an old, how do you say, like hippodrome in French, like a race track for horses, I guess. So like a, like racetrack. And then the racetrack disappeared, but they kept the shape. And then they built a district. So there is a boardwalk, a round boardwalk. Oh my God, that's a cool stuff. So I would stay right on there or every like close, and then I would walk. Like you can walk in circles, so it's super weird because let's say you take a street right, and then you're in one direction. But if you continue 10 meters, then you're completely in another direction. And it's really like it's very rare to have like a round oval shaped thing. And restaurants. There's a big parks. It's a really cool city. I highly approve, like especially the food, the craziness, and I would go when there is wind, because if or when the air kind of like when the wind stops, 24 billion car, it's like there's bad air. That's like big disadvantage. What is the capital of France? Well, that would be Paris. And I've been there a few times. Paris. That's actually one of my favorite cities. Like I like it. It's a little crazy again. Like big cities, I'm kind of not so sure if I like to spend a lot of time in them. In like mid-sized cities, I still love like big metropole with like sound and crazy and stress. I'm like, not so sure. But there are things that I love. It's one of the best walkable city. Like there's so much stuff to see and history that happened there. Like I listened to a podcast that's called Revolutions, and the French Revolution is the mother of all revolution in a way. And like many of the theater was in Paris, and I was talking about angry mobs. That revolution is full of angry mobs with pitchforks and like let's kill the fucking king. And crazy city. It's very cool. And I will say something else about Paris. The people of Paris, they have a bad reputation. Okay, everywhere in the world and in Montreal, like the French people that live in Montreal now, they will say that as well as the Quebecois. But you know what? I don't agree. They kind of like they will say something that can look a little impolite, a little like detrimental, but you don't have to cave. You can fight back, like you can fight back with them a little, like poke them, like you can make fun of them. Like it's so easy to make fun of them, actually. And every time I did, I had a great time with them. They respected me and like brought me to like, I'm not gonna serve this shitty wine to you, my friend. Like here's some good wine. I'm a petit Québécois. So Paris, great city. What is the capital of China? What is the capital of China? Yeah. After Tokyo, second city I visited in my life, Beijing, and it was that was crazy. So it was 2005, and now I went back to China many times, like 2 3 days on like a transit coming to Thailand. But there was back then a flight from Montreal to Shanghai, and then you could stay without a visa for like up to 6 days. And then I took my flight. So every time I was spending a few days in Shanghai, met some friends over there, loved it. But the first time, 2005, it wasn't the same. Shanghai maybe would have been similar, but the rest of China, like forget English, forget everything. So Beijing, forget English. It was like, it's like, it's, yeah, it's better. And so we get out of the plane. We're in this giant airport. Everything's kind of weird. Like, yeah. Yeah. And then we get to the line. Um, Baby, you're in the chat. You're in the chat. How's the sound? I'm using the small microphones. So we we get out of the airport. We're like, holy shit, it's big, it's weird, it smells weird, everything's weird. We're like, nice. Now we're not home. We're not in Kansas anymore. And so we get to the giant taxi line, and there's a policeman, army guy, like making sure that the tourists to get into the taxi. So we show like the address of the hotel to the police and the taxi guy. They're speaking together in Mandarin. It's like, do they know? Do they get it? Like, do they get it? And then like they're like, oh, okay, okay, oh, okay, he gets it. Okay, you know where it is. Perfect. Put our bag, get into the taxi. I'm in the front. All my friends are in the back. And then we drive and he's like screaming at me something like, And then I knew one word, it's Timbudong. Like I hear you, but I don't understand, and I never will. And he's like, it's funny, Timbudong, but yeah, it talks to me. And I'm like, okay, so he doesn't know where to go. So we're showing him the address, but it's written in our alphabet. He's like, I can't read that shit. So we're like, fuck. And trying to say the words like Shing Shire. That, my God, he's like, no. So he was driving towards Beijing, and we were kind of all looking at each other. Can't communicate, and he doesn't know where to go. We were like, nice. This is how it started. But then we point him the phone number, and he's like, the exits the highway, go to a like convenience store kind of, buys data for his phone, then calls the hotel, and they're like, it's there. And he's like, yeah, perfect. Yay, that's where it is. Oh, my God. And that's when we learned that at least in 2005, don't leave your hotel without the card to come back to the hotel. If you leave without the card, you'll never come back to the hotel. But remember, that was days before smartphone, before everything. We had a book, but like try to read this like language thing, like in this. It's like a little triggly thing, a little thing. Like that's the street, like there's 17 thing. You're like, that's how we always left with the card after that. Next, what is the capital of Italy? That would be Rome. Would it? That's funny. ChatGPT. It is. ChatGPT says like Rome is a significant city, but the capital of Rome of Italy is Rome. Thank you, ChatGPT. Oh my God. So it is Rome, and been there a few times. So like sometimes travel anecdotes they can be like big things, or sometimes it's just like small things. Oh, small thing. Last time we were there, or second to the last time we were there. Actually, we were there like twice last year, but for 2 days every time. So we arrived in Rome. We're like, oh my God, like it's kind of like late afternoon. We're hungry. Let's find somewhere. And then we're just walking a bit, but we're near the train station. It's like touristy, let's say. And I'm like, we have to like get out of here if we wanted to be kind of like nicer and less touristy. But we walk a little bit, and then we're like, screw it. Like, it's one of those touristy places, like, whatever. It doesn't. We're just hungry, and let's nice little terrace, like with wooden table and wooden chair, all like in the bricks things. Like nothing is really stable. We're sitting down. I feel like I'm a giant sitting down on those things. And then, all right, guy's super sympathetic. There's the little clocks, like white and red, very romantic. And then we're like, I don't know, like this bread, cheese, like a few things like meat, salad, stuff. In the most touristy restaurant, the food arrives, like, oh my God. The quality of producers that they have there is just insane. It was so good. Just like very simple, but the olive oil was good, vinegar was good, cheese was good, meat was good, the salad was good, like the vegetable was good. Like, it's just like super simple, but just so the food over there, I gotta say that it's very good and reasonably priced, and that's a big plus for me when I travel. I'm a little dog who loves to eat his little food in a bowl. What is the capital of Argentina? Would that be Buenos Aires? Oh, I've been talking for 25 minutes. So that's pretty good. Maybe I should have said that. My team is gonna fight with me because like they like when Luke talks, because Luke stays on subject. Absolutely correct. So Buenos Aires is the capital of Argentina, and Argentina is on my bucket list. Buenos Aires is, I guess, somewhere I will pass through, but I'm actually like aiming for the mountains of Patagonia. That's stuff that I want to see. Buenos Aires, I don't know if I care that much about it, but I don't know if I'm missing out on something. Guys can tell me, but I would still add it to the bucket list. And 26 minutes, that will conclude today's first podcast with trivia, with a few things, with trivia, with the little microphones that I can carry around with me, the good lens, and the simple stuff. And I will go shop for little boxes of trivia cards and then use them as conversation starters for me to tell travel stories, entrepreneurship stories. I'll just tell stories. And that's it, guys. So, see another, as Gotham Chess says, get out of here.